Hi, I'm so glad you're back. My name is Melissa, and I have a website called Home with a Twist, and I want to share some fun bedtime stories with my niece Amelia and my nephews Oliver, Charlie, and James, since I can't be with them right now. And in my time as a what I call myself an accidental innkeeper in Algonquin, Maine, I have come across some great books written by either Maine residents or fun books about Maine. So today we are going to read the story One Morning in Maine by Robert McCloskey. And for moms out there that are my age or older, or even grandmoms and even dads, you may remember Make Way for Ducklings. It was one of my favorite books when I was little, and it was one of my favorite books to read to my daughter when she was little, and this is the same author. Okay, so this is called One Morning in Maine. Can you see the pictures? So one morning, and I'm going to take my glasses off just so that y'all can, so I can read. One morning in Maine, Sal woke up. She peeked over the tops of the covers. The bright sunlight made her blink, so she pulled the covers up and was just about to go back to sleep when she remembered, today is the day I'm going to Bucks Harbor with my father. Sal pushed the covers back, hopped out of bed, put on her robe and slippers, and hurried into the hall. And here she is right here, getting out of her big bed. It's so warm. Have you ever been so excited you could hardly wait to get out of bed in the morning? There was little Jane coming out of her room. So you can see her little sister coming out of her room. Sister Jane had wiggled out of her nightie, so Sal helped her put on her robe and her slippers. You don't want to catch cold and have to stay in bed, Jane, because this morning we are going to Bucks Harbor, Sal reminded her. Here you go. Together they went into the bathroom to get ready for breakfast. Sal squeezed out the toothpaste on Sister Jane's brush and said, "Now be careful, Jane, don't get it in your hair." And then she squeezed some toothpaste into her own brush. When she started to brush her teeth, something felt very strange. One of her teeth was loose. She wiggled it with her tongue, and then she wiggled it with her finger. Oh dear, this cannot be true. Standing on the stool, she looked in the mirror and wiggled her tooth again, and sure enough, it was loose. You could even see it wiggle. There she is, way looking at herself in the mirror. "Mama!" she cried. "One of my teeth is loose. It will hurt, and I'll have to stay in bed today. I won't be able to eat my breakfast or go with Daddy to Bucks Harbor." She came running down the stairs and into the kitchen. Who do you see at the very top of the stairs? Little Sister Jane. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think she's going to have to stay in bed with her loose tooth? I don't think so. Let's move on to this side. So, "Why, Sal," said her mother. Can y'all see okay? "That's nothing to worry about. That means that today you've become a big girl. Everybody's baby teeth get loose and come out when they grow up. A nice, new, bigger, and even better tooth will grow in when this one comes out." Look at the kitty cat underneath the dining table. "Did your baby teeth get loose and come out when you were a big girl?" she asked her mother. "Oh, yes. And then these nice, large, new teeth grew in. And when Penny grew to be a big dog, his puppy teeth dropped out too. Here's Penny. And will Jane's teeth get loose too?" asked Sal. "Oh, yes. But not for long, not until she stops being a baby. And then she grows up to be a big girl like you. Jane is so young that she hasn't even grown all her baby teeth yet. Now let's go upstairs and brush our hair and get ready for breakfast. Isn't that now nice how moms always make things better? Here's Jane underneath the table listening to what they're talking about. Okay. It feels so different to be a big girl and have a loose tooth, said Sal, especially when you're chewing. When is it going to come out? Well, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, answered her mother. But when your tooth does come out, you put it under your pillow and make a wish, and your wish is supposed to come true. I know, but what am I going to wish for? Said Sal. A nice chocolate. Well, you mustn't tell anybody your wish, said the mom, or it won't come true. It's supposed to be a secret. Now finish your milk, Sal, and then you can go out on the beach and help your father dig clams for lunch. I'm a big girl, and I can help him dig a lot of clams fast, so we can hurry up and go to Bucks Harbor. Well, she's really excited about going to Bucks Harbor in this book. So let's see, what do we have going on? Oh, the little sister Jane, she spilled her milk, and the kitty cat's over there drinking the milk. And isn't Jane cute? Look at her short little haircut. It's so cute. My mother used to keep my hair cut like that. Oh, look at this beautiful walk they get to go on. It's kind of like where Aunt Missy lives. I live right near a cliff that overlooks the ocean. It's beautiful here. Okay, so after breakfast, when Sal went out to help her father, you turn this way so you can see this way. She saw a fish hawk flying overhead carrying a fish. I have a loose tooth, she called up to the fish hawk. The fish hawk flew straight to her nest on top of a tree without even answering. She was too busy feeding breakfast to her baby fish hawk. So here's, way up here is the nest where the bird's going. And see, I don't know if you can see, oh look, can you see the little fish in her talons? Talons are like really big claws. Sal wondered for a moment if the baby fish hawk had any teeth to chew his breakfast, and then she started on down toward the beach where her father was digging clams. When she came near to the water, she saw a loon. I have a loose tooth. Here's the loon. And what's he busy doing? He's busy eating a fish too, right? I have a loose tooth, she said, and today I started to be a big girl. The loon didn't say anything but kept swimming in circles, and then he ducked his beak in the water and snapped out a herring. Then he swallowed it whole without a single chew. Perhaps loons don't have teeth, she thought, and she just kept running on her way. She's very busy, this Sal. When a seal poked his head up out of the water, I have a loose tooth, she hollered out to the seal. There's a little seal sticking his little nose up at Sal. Why do we keep calling her Jane? Sal. I have a loose tooth, she said. See? And Sal walked closer, right down to the slippery seaweeds at the water's edge. The seal swam nearer, and Sal was stooping nearer when... Oh no, what do you think's gonna happen? Oops, she slipped on the seaweed and fell. Kaploosh! The seal disappeared beneath the water. The loon laughed. But she wasn't hurt, so she laughed too, and then she got up carefully. So apparently she didn't fall in the water, so that was good. And she started down the shore to help her father dig clams. She paused to watch some seagulls having breakfast. They were dropping mussels down on a rock to crack the mussel shells just like nuts. And I've seen the birds do that here too. They'll find a shell, usually it's clams or a little tiny tiger's eye shell, and they'll fly and they'll drop the shell onto the rocks to try to crack it open, and then they'll go and dig out the little mussel or the clam or the little snail that's inside the shell. That's how they eat. Do seagulls have teeth? Wondered Sal as she wiggled her own loose tooth with her tongue. She thought of her secret wish and smiled, and then hurried down the beach to where she could see her father. Have y'all ever tried to wiggle your tooth with your tongue? It's kind of fun, isn't it? It makes kind of that little squeaky sound, or especially if it's on a string still. Daddy, I have a loose tooth, she shouted, and when it drops out, I'm going to put it under my pillow and wish a wish. You can even wiggle it. There she is running to her daddy. Isn't that cute? Her father stopped digging clams to watch Sal wiggle her tooth. You are growing into such a big girl when you get a loose tooth. What are you going to wish for when it drops out? Oh, I can't tell you, she said, because it's supposed to be a secret wish. Oh, yes it is, her father agreed. May I help you dig clams, Sal said. Well, I'm almost finished, but you can help if you like. First, you have to take off your shoes and your socks and roll up your pants so they won't get all wet and muddy, okay? So I don't know if you can see right here. Here's a big box that the daddy already has a bunch of mussels in. And they're going to steam them and have them for lunch. Sal took off her shoes and socks and put them on a dry rock. So they're up here. She rolled up her pants and she waded into the muddy gravel to help her father. He dug in the mud with his clam rake, and when they looked carefully and felt around in the muddy hole for clams, I found a baby one, said Sal. Well, you certainly did. And here she's holding it. Can you see? It's very tiny. But it's too small. We'll just keep digging large ones, like this. Let's put the baby clam back in the mud so he can grow to be a big clam, just like you. He is such a baby clam. I guess he is too small, Sal said. I guess he's not even big enough to have all his baby teeth, said Sal, placing the tiny clam tenderly back in the mud. Clams don't have teeth, Daddy said, digging another handful of mud. So let's go over here on this side so y'all can see. Not even big clams have teeth. It's kind of hard for me to read. Can y'all see it? No, not even big clams, said the daddy. So do baby fish hawks and big fish hawks have teeth? No. Do loons have teeth and gulls? No. Do seals have teeth? Yes, they have very big teeth. And do their teeth get loose like this? Sal opened her mouth to show her loose tooth. Can you see her wiggling, wanting to wiggle her tooth? Ow! And she said with great surprise, she felt with her tongue and she felt with her muddy fingers. What do you think happened? She wiggled it so much, what do you think happened? It fell out. Oh my gosh, my tooth is gone, she said, feeling once more to make sure. Sure enough, the loose tooth was really and truly gone. The salty mud from her fingers tasted bitter, and she made a bitter-facing taste that almost was a face like crying. Did you swallow it, Sal? Her father asked with a concerned smile. No, I was too busy asking to do any swallowing. It just dropped itself out. It's gone, and I can't even put it underneath my pillow and make a wish come true. Well, that's too bad, her father said. But you're growing into a big girl, and big girls don't cry about a little thing like losing your tooth. They wait for another tooth to come, and then they make a wish on that one. Do you think she's going to be able to find her tooth? I don't know. It's a big mess right in here where they were digging. Maybe we can find my tooth where it dropped, said Sal, hopefully, feeling around in the muddy gravel where the clams were living. Sal's father helped her look, but a muddy tooth looks so much like a muddy pebble, and a muddy pebble looks so much like a muddy tooth that they hunted and hunted without finding it. We'll have to stop and take our clams back home, Sal, her father said, or we won't have time for a trip to the village. He washed off the clams in the clean salt water of the bay, and Sal reluctantly stopped looking and waded into to wash the mud from her feet and from her hands. I guess some clam will find my tooth and get what I wished for, said Sal. If we come back here tomorrow and find a clam eating a chocolate ice cream cone, why, we'll have to take it away from him and make him give my tooth back too. So that must have been what she asked for, was a chocolate ice cream cone. While Sal put on her socks and shoes, her father packed seaweed around the clams to keep them moist and fresh. Now let's hurry back to the house, she said, and in a few minutes we'll be on our way to Buck's Harbor in the boat to get milk and groceries. Okay, said Sal, scrambling to her feet. She gave one last look at the muddy place where she'd lost her tooth and then started walking back along the shore with her father. She walked along slowly, looking at her feet so that her father could not see her face in case it almost looked like crying. Oh, see what we found? She said, stooping up to pick up a feather. It's a gull feather, said her father, pausing to Sal to pick it up. So she found a feather. So that's kind of a nice treat, right? Did a gull lose it? Will another feather grow in where this one dropped out? Said Sal. Yes, Sal, that's right. Well, maybe seagulls put dropped out feathers under their pillows and wish secrets too. Well, seagulls don't use pillows, but I suppose they can make wishes. Then I'll make my wish for this feather, she said. Perhaps a seagull has already made a wish on that feather, and this wish is used up, suggested her father. Oh, no, he didn't, you see. I guess because he was too busy flying and not looking back, he didn't notice it was loose when he brushed his feathers this morning, so he didn't expect it would drop out. He didn't even know that it was gone, she convinced herself. She closed her eyes tight and wished her secret wish, which I wonder if it's the same wish. She wants to have some chocolate ice cream. When they reached home, Sal's mother and Sister Jane were waiting with a box of empty milk bottles to return to the store and a list of things to buy. So here's our kitty, and there's the mama, and there's Penny, and I don't know, oh, and then Jane, the little sister, she ran down to meet them. I have a nice clam chowder ready for your lunch when you'll get back, Sal's mother said. I'll take good care of Jane, Sal promised. I'm a big girl now, and I can watch so she doesn't tumble into the water. Sal and Jane and their father went down to the shore and got aboard their boat. It's a really nice boat. Sal and Jane put on their life preservers or life jacket, and that's really important to wear when you go on the water, even if you're a good swimmer. It keeps you from drowning. While their father prepared to start the outboard motor, he pulled and he pulled on the rope to start, but the outboard motor just coughed and sputtered and wouldn't start. You can see the daddy looks frustrated in that picture. So he had to row the boat all the way across the bay to Buck's Harbor where the store was. Don't you know he was tired? That's a lot of rowing. The harbor was full of boats, and Sal's father rowed their boat among them to a landing and tied it so it would not drift away while they were at the store. They all climbed ashore, and Sal's father brought along the milk bottles. He brought the outboard motor, too, so Mr. Congdon, who ran the garage, could fix it. And as they came up to the path, Mr. Congdon was outside the garage putting gas into a car. I have a tooth out, said Sal, and our outboard motor isn't running. She's a little chatty, isn't she? My, such trouble, said Mr. Congdon, after he had admired the empty place where Sal's tooth was missing. Okay, so here they are, walking with all their stuff, and here's Mr. Congdon putting gas into the gas can. They took the outboard motor into the garage to find out why it wouldn't run. Mr. Congdon pinched a little with his pliers, tunked a bit with his hammer, and then after selecting a large wrench, he took out a spark plug. Came right out, like the tooth of yours, didn't it, Sal? He said, holding up to the light. Needs a new plug, he said. Sal was just about to ask how long it would take for a new spark plug to grow in when Mr. Congdon reached up on the shelf and picked out a brand new one and put it into the motor. Sal picked up the old spark plug and handed it to Sister Jane. So here's an old spark plug. That's why the engine wouldn't start on the boat. the motor. Jane was so little she didn't understand about secret wishes. So Jane couldn't even say ice cream cone. So Sal wished the secret wish for Jane on the spark plug. Mr. Condon pulled the rope and the motor started right up as good as new. Sal's father thanked him, picked up the motor and the milk bottles. Jane carried her spark plug. Sal carried her feather, and they said goodbye and walked across the street to where Mr. Condon's brother kept the store. They are having a very busy morning here. Well, look who's here, said Mr. Condon, who kept the store. I have a tooth out, Sal said, returning Mr. Condon's greeting. Look, here she is, and she's also showing him her feather. She showed the empty place where her tooth had been, first to Mr. Condon and then to Ferd Clifford and Mr. Oscar Staples, who were sitting in the store talking about trapping lobsters and how the fish were biting. So here's all the men. They were having a nice conversation, and then in walks Sal and tells them all about her loose tooth. Don't put your tongue in the empty place, Mr. Clifford said. A nice shiny gold one might grow in it. But I didn't know it would happen so soon, Sal said. All the little old men started laughing. Don't you go worrying about anything these jokers suggest, I don't suppose, he said, opening up his freezer. That you could eat an ice cream cone with one of your teeth out, you think? Oh, I think so. Her wish came true. Oh, yes, I would. And it's supposed to be chocolate. And this little lady, he said to Jane, hers is supposed to be vanilla so the drips won't spot. And you'd better push it together tight so it won't drop off, Sal dictated, because she's still almost a baby and doesn't even have all of her first teeth. After Mr. Condon had put the groceries and milk in the box, they thanked him once more and waved goodbye, and they walked down the path to the harbor. So there they are, and don't you know Mr. Condon has a little kitty cat too. So it sounds like Jane got her wish after all, right? And down the runway to the float where their boat was tied. They all climbed aboard, carrying the outboard motor, the box of milks and groceries, the feather, the spark plug, and the ice cream cones. While their father fastened the outboard motor to the boat, Sal and Jane finished their ice cream cones. I want some more, Jane demanded. Silly, our wishes are all used up. Then she remembered that she was growing up, and just like a grown-up, she said, besides, Jane, 2 ice cream cones would ruin your appetite. When we get home, we are going to have what? Clam chowder! Look at that. Isn't that fun? What a fun book. So this was One Morning in Maine by Robert McCloskey. You go to your local library and check it out so that you can actually look at the beautiful drawings on the inside. And it's been so much fun to gather with my niece and my nephews today to read this installment of a Maine book. And I will be adding more as I can. I've got quite the stack over there. So look for at least another 4 to 5 books about Maine or from authors here in the beautiful state of Maine. Go get out a map or ask your mom or dad, or maybe you have a phone, pull up your phone and see where Maine is on the map so you can see where I am. Y'all have a great day, and be sure to tell your parents to follow Home with a Twist. Bye-bye.